So one thing we can all agree on in life is that no matter what it is, whether it's a song, a piece of art, a system, it can always be improved. Everything in life could be improved for the better. And today I wanted to go over some ways that RLCS could actually be improved. And this is not based off of anything that happened in recent events. This is just kind of where I want to see RLCS go in the future, where I'd like to see Psyonix take it, you know, to get it into a better position. Because I think that Psyonix actually made a good move by making RLCS 10 teams instead of 8 in last season. I think that was a really good move, but there are still ways that it can obviously be improved, and that's what we're going to go over. So obviously, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys do like, hit subscribe for more content, and we'll get right into the video. So first off, I just put a random RLCS game on in the background, because the visuals isn't really what's important, it's more the dialogue for this. So I just put up a game so you guys have something to kind of watch while I talk. So as of right now, RLCS is 10 teams. Its loser gets auto relegated while the winner of the rival series gets auto promoted. You guys know how it works. If I were running RLCS in the future, I would like to make it 16 teams, because let's be honest, adding more teams to RLCS is just better in every way. There's no downside to it. And the one thing that I think of a lot is, you know why orgs drop their teams a lot when they get promoted to Rlrs? It's because no organization wants to be in the minor leagues. They want to be in the majors. And if there's more teams in each major league in the RLCS, then more orgs are not only going to get into RLCS, but they're going to stay in. Because right now, if you're the 8th and 7th place team, you know, you're not the best in RLCS. You're a little less than average. You're less than that number 5, but let's say there's 16 teams. The 8th and 7th place spots looking pretty good. They're near the top, actually. You know, it's kind of just a different way of looking at it. More orgs will stay in, and then on the top of that, it makes RLCS a more competitive. The more teams that there are to fight up against, it makes just so much, it adds so much more competition to the mix. And then with 16 teams, one thing that I'd like to see happen is instead of one team auto promoted, one team auto relegated, I'd like to see 2 teams get auto relegated and 2 teams auto promoted, as well as 2, maybe even 3 going to the promotion tournament. So that bottom 4 or even that bottom 5 is really dangerous, because if you're in that bottom 5, then you have a chance of getting auto relegated or going to the promotion relegation tournament. Because right now the promo relegation tournament is just 4 teams, and a lot of times, at least for North America in the recent seasons, both North American teams have requalified, which you want to see more teams in, right? I have nothing against the teams that requalify. It's just always fun seeing more teams get into the mix. So having more opportunity to get demoted and requalify is just better. I think it's better. And then one thing that could add is stakes, right? Right now in RLCS, if you're the 4th to the bottom, you don't qualify for regionals, you don't qualify for the promotion tournament, you don't get auto relegated, nothing happens, right? And then it would just add more spots where there are stakes on the line, where something could happen. And I think that narrative that helps drive the game will help be increased. It'll become a stronger narrative, and I think that would just be really good for the game. And you might be thinking, well, if there's 16 teams, then it's going to take too long to go through RLCS. And that's why, instead of having 2 RLCS per year, we're going to have 1, just like most esports do. They have 1 world championship per year, but it'll be longer. The season will be longer. We'll have a longer season. Probably, in my opinion, I think we'd start in the winter and have worlds like over the summer, because, you know, summer. And then everything would work out. And every week you'd play your team, blah blah blah, and you know, it could go on, worlds could go on, then league play could go on for like a few more months than it already does now, maybe 4 or 5, and then we have our worlds to end off, and you know, RLCS goes on for like a half a year. And then next thing, because we're having 2 worlds, we'll double the prize pool, because they give out $1 million per RLCS in a prize pool, which is $2 million a year. And what they can easily do is just combine that. Or now that Epic Games is backing them up, I would love to see the prize pool get increased, because the increased prize pool is only good for RLCS. It's only good for Rocket League. It shows not just to the viewers, but to everyone else, organizations, that Rocket League is improving and it's getting out there. They're making money off of it. You know, It's not just them giving away money. Obviously, if Psyonix can't afford, let's say, a $10 million prize pool, don't do it. But you think with Epic Games backing them, they can afford at least a $5 million, maybe a little higher than what's going on right now. I mean, Epic Games is a multi-billion-dollar company, so you would think Epic Games wants to really start pushing out these esports. And on top of that, I want to get more regions into this. You want to get more regions into RLCS. There are good players from other regions. Like we saw SRG. They are really, really good and can compete at the top level. For those of you who don't know, SRG is Sandrock Gaming. They are really good. And it's unfortunate that they can't compete not only in league play, but not in RLCS. Their region just isn't supported. But one day I would love to see more regions get into RLCS. Then once you get more regions into RLCS, I would like to see 4 teams from each region. Because as it is right now, 4 teams from Europe, 4 teams from North America, 2 from OCE, 2 from SAM. I'd like to see 4 from each region with new regions, because that just makes the World Championship much more competitive. Or if you think it's going to be too many people at the World Championship, I guess you can make it 3 from each region and actually go down 1 from what it is in North America, SAM, if you think there's going to be too many people. But that's why I'm saying that Worlds should take place over the summer, and instead of it being a 3-day event, it would be a 1-week event, because 1, it's over the summer, so people got the free time, right? It's not like you're in school, so you can take that Monday off, that's Tuesday off to go. And then on top of that, it gets more teams into the World Championship. And the World Championship, I mean, that's the hype. That's what everyone cares about. Everyone loves the World Championship. They want to see international competition. They want to see G2 versus DIG. They want to see SAM versus OCE even. It's just so much fun to see international competition. And the more the better, honestly. Make it a week-long event. Hell, do that. But only make it 1 a year, like I said earlier. Because adding more to the esports scene is in no way a bad thing. The only thing maybe about the prize pool you can make a case for is saying, oh, maybe Psyonix doesn't have the money. Which, Epic Games, guys, Epic Games has got the money. We know they do. We 100% know they do. It's just a matter of, are they willing to invest it into Rocket League? I think that's the key, and that's what everyone's asking. The biggest question going around right now is, what has Epic Games really done? Like, we're happy they haven't ruined Rocket League, right? We are very happy they haven't made it so the ball bounces at 1 billion miles per hour, blah, blah, blah. But what are they going to do to the esports scene? What are they going to do to the casual scene? They haven't done anything really, which is kind of relieving, but at the same time, it makes you think, man, are they planning something big? I mean, Rocket League hasn't even moved over to the Epic Games Store, which is a great transition into my next point. Rocket League needs to become free to play when it moves over to the Epic Games Store. Because at this point, if you're going to move it over to the Epic Games Store, how are you going to get people to get it on the Epic Games Store? Because obviously you want people to get it on your platform. But they did also say they would continue to support Steam, which is good. But they haven't even started supporting Epic Games. You would think that Epic Games, they like to go the free-to-play route, and then they make money off the in-game item shop, which they already switched Rocket League to Fortnite's in-game item shop. The system that we have now, the rotating item shop, is what Fortnite kind of coined, in a way. I mean, Fortnite coined a lot of things. Epic Games made that happen, and they did it for Rocket League. But now is the time to make the game free-to-play, because you make the game free to play, so many more people get into the game, and people who didn't think that they would spend money on the game at first end up spending money on a cosmetic item, right? It's actually a lot more lucrative than making your game $20, because that actually deters a lot of people from playing, because if you don't know you're gonna like it, you want to try out the game. Rocket League, I think, needs to be free to play. I think that would be so beneficial, not only for the player base, but long term as an investment. I think it would, especially because after how many years now has it been out? You feel like if people wanted the game by now, they probably would have gotten it. You want to get that to be free to play, get the game out there to more people. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, this is kind of subjective. This is depending on your feeling. This is just a rule. This is a rule that they have in Rocket League right now in RLCS that I don't personally like for reasons I'll go over, but maybe you like it, and that's cool. It's called the 2/3 roster rule, and it basically says that for RLCS, if you qualify for RLCS, if you don't have at least 2/3 of your starting roster that you had the previous season, you lose your RLCS spot. So we saw that on Rogue, they had kicked Wonder. Okay, and they got Turnturo, so they have 2/3 of their roster. Let's say First Killer left to go to, let's say, Cloud9 or something. Well, Kronovi's out of the RLCS. They don't have a spot anymore because it's not the organization that qualifies. They don't say, okay, Rogue qualifies. It's the team themselves that qualify. That's why we see from Ghost Gaming, when Ghost, their org dropped them and then they were picked up by Envy, they're still an RLCS team because it's not Ghost Gaming that qualified. It's the 3 in the roster that qualify, if that makes any sense. I would love to see that 2/3 roster rule actually go away because, and it's not for the higher teams to make roster changes, it's for the lower teams. When you barely qualify for RLCS, you want to make roster changes, right? Like we saw with RBG, who then became Flight. They kicked Aeon. There was a lot of controversy around that, but then a lot of people also came out and said, well, if you're going into RLCS as the worst team looking to be auto-relegated, why wouldn't you make a roster change, right? And you think that, especially for those bottom teams, 1 isn't enough. Sometimes you might want to make 2. I couldn't ever see 3 happening. I don't know how that would work, but they should make it the 1/3 roster rule. I don't know. At least that's just my opinion, but again, or they should just get rid of that rule altogether because I think that especially for the lower teams trying to make those changes, it could be a good thing. It could be. And again, I can definitely see why it's in place because you don't want a team to make roster change, 2 roster changes, 3 roster changes, and then it's just a bunch of platinums in RLCS, right? And I'm sure there might be other reasons that I haven't thought of either as to why the 2/3 roster rule is in place, but I think that it's something, in my opinion, that could go. I think we could do without it a little bit. But basically, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I think that those are all the ways to improve Rocket League. I'll go over the points again. 16 teams, $2 million prize pool or more. 1 RLCS per year, 4 teams from each region, add more regions, make Rocket League free to play, and then make Worlds a 1-week-long event over the summer, and then a 2/3 roster rule, which again is kind of objective. But I think those will all be ways to really push the esports scene for the better. And I would love to see Rocket League actually and definitely head towards that direction, which we have. Over the years, we've seen prize pools have been increased. What was the first RLCS, like 100K, 200K? It was considerably lower than it is now, and now it's 1 million, which is awesome. Again, we'd love to see it be higher. We'd love to see more regions be added, which we have. I'm not saying we haven't. We have definitely seen all these things. I'm just saying where I'd like to see it go from here, which I think Psyonix is going to do. They're slowly getting the esports scene out there. Very slowly, I might add, very slowly, but nonetheless, they are doing it, which is good. You know, and I can't blame Psyonix. They want to test it, see how everything goes, right? Like adding 2 more teams to RLCS added an extra 3 weeks to league play. So again, if you're going to have 16 teams, like I said, you would need to make it a lot longer because there would just be so many combinations of teams that would need to play. Yeah, it would be tough. It'd be a lot, which is why I think that maybe group stages would be the way they'd end up going, which also kind of sucks because you don't want group stages. You want to see every team play every team. You know, it's just fun that way. But sometimes you just can't do that. When you look at esports like Counter-Strike, their ESL Pro League, they do group stages, right? Sometimes teams just don't play each other. Counter-Strike games take forever, right? It could take easily anywhere from, if you're playing a best of 3, it could take like an hour and a half to 3 hours if it goes all the games. It's just could take a while, right? At least a Rocket League game is only 5 minutes, right? That's one thing I love about the sport. Really, really cool. But yep, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I hope maybe other people also agree, and maybe you guys have some ideas of how Psyonix could improve RLCS as well. I'll let you guys leave that in the comments below, but thank you guys all for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.